So in this video, we're going to go over the April 6 patch notes. There are going to be two new target extractions for this update. For the first target extraction, we're going to get the new units, the 3-star Otis and the 2-star Honglu. For the second extraction, we're going to get Heathcliff and all of his identities, and they're going to add a teleport eagle for Frost. Next up, we have a new feature called Luxuration Sweep. So after clearing a stage in Luxuration, you unlock the ability to skip the battle for it. So using the skip button costs twice the normal encapsulated modules that you would use for the stage, and it also gives 150% of the rewards that you would normally get. Now this is, in my opinion, pretty bad because you're using more encapsulated modules for less rewards. It's useful if you want to do it in a hurry, I guess, and you don't have much time, but I don't see myself using this anytime soon. Next up is the new combat feature, Eagle Overclock. So when you generate an Eagle skill, you can manually make it a corroded version of that skill by using 1.5 times as many Eagle resources and SP. Now if you have enough resources for it, you will get a stable Eagle Overclock, which will give you a corroded version of the Eagle, and it will not hit your allies. So you will probably be able to manually target it, which is very nice. But if you don't have enough resources for the Eagle Overclock, it will become an unstable Eagle Overclock. So this means that the Eagle can hit your allies, and you probably won't be able to target it. Also, if you did not have enough Eagle resources, they will go beyond 0 and go into the negatives, which is very bad for you. So now we get into the major combat changes. First up is a very big change. They have reworked passives for everything. They have changed 18 combat passives and 34 support passives to make them use Eagle resources now instead of the normal way to activate them, which is really confusing and not very intuitive. Some resonance required passives have been erased for different ones, and some resonance dependent effects have been changed to static numbers. So now you will actually have consistent resonance dependent effects happening. So overall, these are some pretty good changes, I would say. One thing that is annoying me though is that it's going to use Eagle resources. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. We'll just have to wait for the update to see what happens. They have also changed Eagle corrosion a bit. So now the Eagle corrosion skill appears on a random number of slots instead of all of the slots that the center had. And they're also adding panic blocks to some of the slots. So I guess they're supposed to help you not, use the Eagle on your allies. They have also changed the sin resistances for Eagles. Now instead of it just adding the good resistances to your Eagle, it will now just completely change them to the Eagle that you use. So it's kind of an overall nerf, but I think this was needed because of the Eagle Overclock. This would have been very overpowered. You would have no weakness on your resistances. Now we have a long list of bug fixes and improvements. We're just gonna go over these real quick, just skim through them. So they fixed an issue where bonus damage related effects of certain skills dealt affinity based damage instead of fixed damage. So for G Corp manager Gregor, they fixed Eviscerate. For N Corp Heathcliff, they fixed Infirm Retribution. And for Don Quixote, they fixed Fluid Sac Eagle. So they finally fixed Overbreathe on the She Section 5 identity for Don Quixote. This was a very good ability, doing a lot of damage. Now it's still going to do a lot of damage, but you are going to need a little bit more speed for it to be good. So they fixed an issue with Yi Song's Wishing Corn Eagle, where it was targeting random enemies instead of just one fixed enemy. So in human fights, you can make it target anyone you wanted by simply redoing it over and over, by replacing it and then putting it back. This was pretty OP because you obviously can't target in human fights. Glad to fix this. Now they fixed the healing reduction for Cromer Phase 2, so it actually applies now. A lot of people will be happy about this since some are still struggling to beat Cromer. Now it's easier. So next bug fix is a big one. Apparently, the sanity was not affecting the coin flips as much as it was supposed to be. So now, the more sanity you have, the more heads you should be getting on your coin flips. This would be very useful, and it would actually just make the game way easier for us. It's a very welcome change. They also made it so counter skills now activate against any incoming attack rather than the one you selected when you picked the counter skill. Now they also fixed an issue where some identities were being displayed as uncheckable in checks. Now I never encountered this, but this will be a very game breaking if you actually encountered it. So nice job to them on that one. Now some of these are just changes that I don't really need to go over because they're not too important. So they fixed an issue where the mirror dungeon nodes would not be showing what type of nodes there were. Now this, I actually encountered this once, and it was actually really fun because you didn't actually know where you were getting when you went on the question mark nodes. So that was nice, but they fixed it now. So they fixed an issue where the game would become unable to progress after performing rapid inputs in the choice prompt UI. Basically, this means for people who are running macros, the game would be able to progress, which is actually kind of funny because I don't think anyone other than macro users experienced this. So I guess PM still wanted to fix it because I guess people could still click as fast, but I'm not sure why they fixed that. So the season 1 end date was actually written incorrectly. It was a day off, and now it's been changed from May 18th to May 19th, which is very nice. They also changed the phrasing on ego gifts, so they're easy to understand now. Very welcome change. So that's it for the patch notes. As always, we get 300 lunacy for the update. Very nice, and make sure you're not playing on the time that they're gonna do the update because you might lose some progress, especially with Mirror Dungeon. And the update is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on April 6th Korean server time. Be sure to be ready for it. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a great day.